On this program, we have often highlighted the partnerships between the business community and the Clark County School District, which are helping students understand their future career options and also providing them with many of the skills they will need. An upcoming event is hoping to create an even stronger bond between public education and the business community. Well, the Business Education Be Engaged Summit is coming up later this month on Thursday, March 28th at the Smith Center for the Performing Arts. The event is organized by a volunteer group of business and community leaders, and we have two of them with us here today. Peter Guzman is president of the Latin Chamber of Commerce, Nevada, and also Ken Evans is president with the Urban Chamber of Commerce, and we appreciate both of you for being here to talk about this important issue.
Glad to be
here.
Thank you very much.
I think we understand generally the connection between education and the business community, but I'd like to hear from each of you. For a lot of years, they kind of kept to themselves. We're trying to bring them together. Is that important?
Yeah, I think it's not only important, it's critical. The business community has to understand that they have a vested interest. It's their children in those schools. It's their future workforce in those schools. And education needs to understand that they need to embrace the business community being involved as well, because that's where funding comes from. That's where the dollars come from. So I think it's actually a marriage, and I think it's long overdue. But I do see the movement now where business and education is now coming together.
Okay. Ken, how about you? Do you think this is something that people already knew, or do you have to convince people or your members that, hey, we really should be working together and the benefits are better when we work together?
I think our members already knew that it was important for them to be involved in education, whether it's general education, because there is a connection between education and economic development. Historically, we've actually had challenges either developing organizations here or companies here, or drawing other companies to come to Nevada because of our educational system.
Right.
So I think as we move forward, we recognize that there's a relationship between education and having a good, solid economic development agenda.
Okay. I'm curious, when you hear from your members, each of you, as we said, are president of your respective Chamber of Commerce, what do you hear from business leaders on maybe their frustration with the employees that they're hiring? Is there frustration?
I hear from my members, and I think it's twofold. Yeah, there's frustration about maybe not being able to get the educated workforce that they'd like to have.
Okay.
But also that they have their children in these schools, and they don't want to see us 49th or 48th. They want to see us moving up the ladder. That's a vested interest in our family. Mm-hmm. And for my demographic, Latinos, we're very family oriented, and we care about our kids' education. And so I think that there's a twofold frustration.
Okay. Ken, how about you? Do you think are the businesses feeling like they have the workforce they need?
Once again, I agree with my colleague here. I think it's a twofold concern. First and foremost, there's a concern that we graduate individuals that are prepared to participate technically and have some professional level of competence, whether they're going to go right into a career or whether they intend to pursue higher education opportunities. There's a concern there. And then again, there's also a concern that they be prepared with the prerequisite life skills in order to be part of a team in the workplace.
Right, okay. One of the big issues this year in terms of education and the legislative session, which is currently underway, is something called the Nevada Plan. And just to remind people, that is the plan that guides funding for public education in this state. It was a plan that was created in 1967. And I'm kind of curious, as we kind of get into this issue, do you feel like this plan that we have now, this Nevada Plan, is it holding back the state? You brought up the issue of, our rating, yes. Frequently not good, but I'm curious to get your view on this.
I would say two things. First of all, on a macro level,
yeah.
I'll say this is a concern of mine and not just myself, but others as well. If you look at our overall education system in America, it's about a 150-year-old business model, and no business would want to keep moving along with that. So bring it back specific to Nevada. Yes, if we have a plan that's well outdated, it's going to impede our ability to prepare a quality workforce because they're not getting the education. Specifically, they may not be getting the funding necessary to provide the education necessary to prepare a quality workforce.
Yeah. What about you, Peter?
I agree with my colleague. And here's the thing. You wouldn't run a business the same way. You got to start looking at this a little bit from a business angle. I like that the new CFO at the school district is from the private sector. When his hands are not handcuffed and allowed to really do what he does well, he's going to find a lot of waste and a lot of extra dollars out there that are there. But we got to get it into 2019, and you need some business minds to help with that. Again, I like that the CFO is from the private sector. I think his mentality, way of thinking is going to be a little different. Combined with Dr. Hara, who's doing an amazing job, I think that we're going to see some real pluses.
Okay, let's talk about this difference between the categorical funding, which the funding that goes into particular, I guess maybe programs or areas, versus what people are talking about, this weighted funding formula, where the resources go with the student based on what that student needs. Are you in favor of this weighted formula idea?
Yes, definitely, because for me, a big concern is, as has been mentioned, although I want to say and congratulate the district on having pockets of excellence, if you will, because there are some good success stories. At the same time, systemically, there's some issues related to student achievement, and in particular, when you look at students of color, especially Latino males and African American males, there's an achievement gap there. So if we can use a funded formula or a weighted formula that actually follows students that are on the deficit end of a student achievement gap, that's the way to go.
Right,
Yeah.
Peter?
And I agree. I mean, again, always go back. I'm an entrepreneur. That's my DNA. You got to look at things from a business standpoint. It makes total sense. The money following the student makes total sense.
One of the things we brought up is that there are 72 different students come in from 158 different countries to CCSD. They speak 27 different languages. So CCSD has to educate them.
And some of them are illiterate in their own language.
Right. So this this weighted funding formula would help get the resources so that we can bring them up. Is that the thinking?
Tremendously.
Yes.
That is the thinking. Lifting up.
Okay.
Lifting up a group.
And at the same time, what's also important is, even as we're lifting everyone up to a certain standard, what's also good about this process is it doesn't take away from students that may be achieving at a higher level.
Right.
Or, for example, if you have a school that recently went from, let's say, 3 stars to 5-star achievement, it makes sure that you don't take resources away from them, even as you're bringing other schools in line.
It continues that momentum.
And that's a concern. We want to help all students.
That's great.
Okay, before we go, we're almost out of time. Why should business leaders attend this conference on the 28th, the Be Engaged Summit?
Well, because this is their school district. These are their students, their family members, and their future workforce. It's an exciting time. They should be all over this.
Okay. Peter, how about you, Ken?
I think it's imperative that business and education come together, hence the term Be Engaged.
Right.
So it's imperative that all our business members get involved, be engaged, and show up on March 28th.
And that's wonderful. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it. We'll let folks know that if you want to get more information on Be Engaged, you can go to beengagednevada.com for ticket information. Again, the event is Thursday, March 28th at the Smith Center.